YouTube, what's going on? We're back with some more of the First Descendant. We got Lepic out in the breach, using probably, you know, his most powerful mobbing build. So this is just a great breach showcase run for you guys. Go over the full build in detail like I always do. It's all time stamped in there. Just a great run. This is Lepic at his best. So if you guys are appreciating the content, you guys are liking the videos, please feel free to turn on those notifications, sub to the channel, drop a like. Alright, this is my Lepic explosive stacks build. Just fully kitted out to power. Very fun build to use. Insane clear times on just all general endgame content. This build is a destroyer of the endgame content. So we'll kick it off. Burning Mechanics Reactor to take advantage of fire skill, power boost ratio, and tech skill. Running this on the bottom rolls with skill critical hit rate, skill critical hit damage. 4-piece firebrand set. Again, we take advantage of the 2-set bonus of extra range and duration. Fantastic. The 4-set, although we do get the reduction in movement speed, and we do offset that within other modules in the build. On fire attack against an enemy inflicted with burn related effects, the hit enemy's fire resistance is negative 30%, so that's a really nice fire resistance reduction to the enemy hit with a burn related fire skill. So that's why we run it with the firebrand processor over the Slayer set. And again, the Slayer set does have a an increased 15% skill cost, so it's nice to not have that within the build. So really been enjoying running this with the 4-piece firebrand. And again, when it comes to the cores for all 4 of the sets, I like to run this with the max HP and defense for the core rolls. And again, for the bottom attribute rolls, again, anything with elemental resistance, max shield, HP regeneration, MP, recovery modifiers, all of those things are going to be good for your build. So again, elemental resistance, and then we've got increased defense. Again, MP recovery in combat, that's huge. Shield recovery out of combat, that could probably be done with something a little bit better. And then we've got fire resistance and max HP. So there's a lot of different ranges of elemental resistance. And again, on MP recoveries are kind of what you're after. This is a very nice build as far as survivability. Again, rocking up close to 8,000 hit points with a very high defense number of almost 70,000. Arche Tuning. Again, with this build, we'll go over the mechanics of it. Skill cooldown is not really important, so just make sure that we're fully kitted into our skill critical hit rate and skill critical hit damages. Again, we've got our fire chain catalyst, capstoning the enhanced fire skill power. As you can see, we're fully kitted out on range. We're basically almost fully kitted out on skill critical hit rate. And then we're almost at a 6 times multiplier, 600% increased skill critical hit damage. Inversion Reinforcement. Again, I like to run a survival. Again, more just attribute resistance. This node, the selective neural stimulation. Again, every 45 seconds, at a certain percentage chance, we're regenerating each one of these MP recovery traits. Focus boost, again, reduced skill cost. You could run this with the adrenaline surge for movement speeds, but I like to have, again, reduced skill cost because we're kind of just spamming our explosive stacks or our grenades over and over and over again, along with our other skills when they come up. We run this with the MP Fellow. Again, it synergizes nice with the selective neurostimulation in the Inversion Reinforcement, where every 45 seconds we're recouping 16% MP. Descendant modules, when it comes to the explosive stacks, modifies grenade throw to replenish a certain amount of times. Grenade replenishes once every time a certain amount of ammo is being consumed. So we'll get into the weapon, but basically the fire rate of your weapon, the faster it can, you know, fire off rounds, the quicker you regen these back. And because you're regenning it based off of like ammo consumption, cooldown is not important at all, because you're getting these back by firing your weapon. So that's the most important mechanic to the build, is cooldown is irrelevant, because you're getting these grenades back every time you empty out your clip as quickly as possible. So that we'll get into the weapons and why we run those as well. So again, that's what we're using for explosive stacks. And again, you know, the grenades can be towed now. Got a lot of skill. Power against skill cooldown is not important. And again, with Lepic, it doesn't really, so, you know, it's nice to have the survivability, but again, you have like a free life with them as well. So it's just worth noting that close call, when you get down or you get hit, you're able to, you know, recoup some HP and stay alive within the game. It's almost like having a second life. So with the explosive stacks build, because we don't have any cooldown, I like to run this with the veteran's tactic. So every time we're defeating an enemy, again, the mobs are thick, we get to reset a random skill cooldown at, you know, a 19% chance. So that is huge. So even, you know, again, if we have 0 cooldown in this, we're going to get a skill back once we kill an enemy at a 20% chance. You know, mobs are dense, so we're actually able to recoup, you know, our traction grenade and our overclock, and just keep these things popped as we're just absolutely decimating mobs. So this allows you to free up a lot of different options and slots for max power. So that's the crux of the build behind it. So, you know, explosive stacks in tandem with veterans tactics with 0 cooldown, this is what frees up a lot of the modules now for us to really put the hurt on the enemies. So for the trigger module, we're running this with the blazing zone. Again, I've kitted this one fully out to power. You could make the argument that having the spawn rate is better, and I wouldn't argue with that. But again, we're just tossing in our grades as much as possible. So, you know, it's nice that it's at 86. If it was in, you know, want this in double gold, you know, I do have one that's higher up in the 90s, but again, I'm just trying to maximize the skill power within the blazing zone, and this fully impacts our traction grenade. So not only now does it pull them all in, but there's now a, you know, a bubble field around it that is damaging the enemies as they're being sucked into it, and then we're just lobbing them with the grenades. It's just so fun. The synergy with the blazing zone and the traction grenade is really good. Absolutely love the combo between them. And again, cooldown doesn't really matter to it. We are getting our traction back. You know, it feels like these are on like a 0 cooldown just because of the veterans tactics and the density of the mobs. So when it comes to the modules, again, you've got your grappling hook in there just to get you the, you know, the extra slots. I mean, I used the mid-air maneuvering. You can use whatever one you want. And then we've got our, you know, skill concentration, skill insight, our front lines in there as well. Again, we don't need to run this with the emergency measures when it comes to the skill critical hit rate. Again, we didn't want to like overclock where we were, which I already just, you know, kind of showed you guys. We're already at 99.6, so to put emergency measures on with this would just put us over the cap at 100%. It would give us more skill critical hit damage, like probably upwards of just above 600%. But again, we're going to utilize other modules in this build to just get us raw skill power increases. So those are the 3 that I like to use for it. Then we want to run with maximize range. Again, we want our traction to be pulling in everybody together so that we're able to really, you know, be able to toss those nades out and just hit mass clusters of enemies. So we run this with the skill expansion and the maximize range. When it comes to just the raw skill power, so now again, skill cooldown is just out the window. So we can use our maximize skill to increase our base skill power boost ratio by, you know, almost 88%. We do take that huge skill cooldown, irrelevant because of veterans tactics, and irrelevant because explosive stacks is given back to us by firing our weapon. I like to run this with the tech skill modifier. Again, our damage dealer is tech. So we're just able to really spec fully into that. You could even go with maximize power, fire specialist. Those are all options that you can run with this. I run it with the tech, but again, because cooldown is not even an issue, you could run this with maximize power as well. I've been liking it with the tech skill modifier. And then to cap it all off with our Transcendent module, our Transcendent Ancestor module, I should say, we've got the skill critical hit rate, we've got fire skill power boost ratio, we've got skill critical damage. We do have a little bit of shield reduction in there, but it doesn't matter because we're going to offset that with just high defense, and that is where the spear and shield comes in. So very high defense, and on top of that, this is why I like this as a survivability option over like HP increases and stuff like that, is because you do get an 8% base skill power boost ratio. 8% might not seem like a lot. It's better than nothing if you're just trying to swap an HP module. At least you're seeing 8% and a very nice uptick in your defense. When it comes to the Ancestor module, again, we're looking to run these in just higher grades. You know, if we had purple fire skill and double golds and skill critical hit rate, skill critical hit damage, that would be absolutely fantastic. But we'll keep making gains with it. This is why I know this build can be, improved on, and clear times can be done, because we're not even at the maximum amount of power that we can get out of the Ancestor module. When it comes to the weapons, so I run this with it's a two-piece combo. We run it with the Python, if nothing else, just to regenerate, again, the explosive stacks. This thing is on a very high fire rate, and I don't have an extended clip, so one clip basically replenishes your 3 explosive stacks. So this is what I run the Python for. Again, you can see my cores. I'll just go through the attribute rows on the bottom. This is the build that I'm using. Again, I'm offsetting these over, the movement speed reduction in the firebrand set within our external components with brisk walk. So again, we hit an enemy and boom, we get an extra 24% on our movement speed, so we're able to zip around fairly quickly. I'm not really going to go over it, but this is just a mobility build built for a little bit of speed. Just leave it up there real quick. And again, firing this weapon, because it's high, it regenerates the 3 grenade stacks immediately. Now, when you have your 3, this is all about flow. I'm going to be up front. You can just run this with the Python and don't worry about swapping off your weapon. When you get to the flow where you're feeling really good about it, I could carry the Secret Garden in the back pocket. And the reason why we carry the Secret Garden in the back pocket is for its unique ability, pest control. If you're not, familiar with the pest control, again, using a tech skill grants the unique ability. We're using our grenades, those are tech. Trigger rates at 50%, you get 3 stacks, and as you can see their skill power per stack is at 16%. So you get just a massive skill power increase just by bringing this out and throwing your grenades. So once you get the feel for the build, you just run this with the Python, get your explosive stacks, and you can swap over when you're feeling comfortable to the Secret Garden and just really take advantage of the pest control and additional skill power damage. I like to really just pull this out when I'm with the boss, and primarily just keep my Python firing and recouping stacks when I'm mobbing. But again, when you get into the flow, you will feel, get to the ability to be able to swap from one to the other freely without messing yourself up, or getting stuck on your Secret Garden when you really want to be on your Python and you're just trying to recoup your grenades. So again, you can keep your Python on, don't really have to swap over to the Secret Garden, but the Secret Garden is always in our back pocket, again, to take advantage of its unique ability, pest control, which is triggered by a tech skill, which is what our explosive stacks or our grenades is. And we're able to generate, again, 16% additional skill power at 3 stacks. Again, it's like 48 per, 48% skill power increase just by having this weapon out while tossing grenades. So that's the flow of it. You'll see it in the video in the description, but that's why we run it the way we do. When it comes to my Secret Garden, again, as you can see, it's all about the speed. Those are my rolls on the bottom. And again, with the general build, I am running this with the brisk walk as well within this build. Just so when I'm hitting enemies with it, again, when I like to use the boss, sometimes I won't even swap back over to my Python because I'm already at 3. I've swapped over to my Secret Garden. Once you throw three of these explosive stacks, the boss isn't going to have too much HP left. I just fire my Secret Garden if I need one more nade to take him out. That's basically all it is. The 3 stacks, make no mistake, explosive stacks or the 3 stacks just basically melts red bars or bosses almost instantly. That's my build. I hope you guys like it. Enjoy.